This conference will now be recorded.
Hey everybody, Dr. Doug Smith here. It is 1 o'clock, time for our Monday through Thursday 1 o'clock podcast. This will be our last podcast of the week, and we're going to end it on with good news. We're going to end this week on a good note. The end of next week will be the launch of our DNA test. It only took 4 years. 4 years, people. That took 4 years. But we got it done. We did it. It was an uphill battle every step of the way. We had headwinds every step of the way, but we got it done. We're extremely happy with the way this test is performing. We are extremely happy with how this test is performing. What you see on the screen in front of you there is the current draft of the lab report. It's got everything. One minor detail on the far right there on the image. It doesn't have the normals, so I'll have that probably by this afternoon. But this is the type report that it is, and so let's just briefly go through this because this is an exciting day. This is exciting for us, and as you can see, it's the name of the test is melting point methylation PCR. Now, what does that mean? Melting point methylation PCR. It means this is solid science. That's what it means. It means this is rock solid science. Melting point methylation PCR. Put it in Google and you'll see this is rock solid science. Under that it says method of test, bisulfate PCR protocol. What does that mean? Again, that means this is rock solid science. Okay, this is not pseudoscience. Okay, we're not reading your horoscope here. This is the real thing. Purpose of the test, to detect abnormal methylation in the promoter region of the OPRM1 gene. What does that mean? Well, the OPRM1 gene is a gene that your body uses to make the opioid receptor, the one that the opioid drugs bind to. That's what the OPRM1 gene is. The promoter region of the OPRM1 gene is the area of the DNA that controls the gene. Okay, that's the control room. Okay, to detect abnormal methylation, well, that's what opioids do. They cause an abnormal a poisoning. They cause a poisoning in the control room of the DNA. Okay, detect abnormal methylation in the promoter region of the OPRM1 gene. What does that mean? It means to detect poisoning in the control room of the DNA. It's exactly what that means. Medical necessity, the test. Patients with hypermethylation in the promoter region of the OPRM1 gene due to repetitive opioid exposure are known to be at risk of autonomic dysfunction and with possible catecholamine toxicity. Okay, now what matters is the last sentence here. Okay, catecholamine toxicity, that means adrenaline toxicity, people. Don't get caught on the words. Adrenaline toxicity is associated with catastrophic cardiovascular morbidity and mortality. What does that mean? It means that adrenaline toxicity will kill you with a heart attack or a stroke. That's exactly what it means. Okay, so we give here an example of the results. This is an actual person. I don't even know this person's name because when you do this type of stuff, you have to use codes in the lab when you're doing research. But it says right there, the DNA melting point of patient, block the name, is 70.1 degrees Celsius. The average DNA melting point of opioid naive controls is 90 degrees. So people who don't take the opioids, their DNA melts at 90 degrees. At least there's a little section of DNA. Okay, this is a 100 nucleotide base pair out of 3 billion base pairs. It's just a little tiny piece of the DNA where we found the damage. And let me tell you, to find the damage on that little tiny piece and get results like this is nothing short of amazing. So what this means is that this patient had almost a 20-degree shift in their melting point. Okay, we were hoping we could build a test that could find 2 or 3 degree shifts in melting points. Okay, and some of them were 2 or 3 degrees, and those are hard to read. But some of them were 20 degrees. Okay, so what does this mean? And then we'll wrap it up for the week. Okay, and look at the bottom there. Okay, this patient tested strongly positive for genetic damage. This patient tested strongly positive for genetic damage due to the opioids. You have it right there in front of you, folks, in black and white. A little bit of color to it, but in black and white. This patient tested strongly positive for genetic damage. Okay, think about how many times this person was called an opioid addict. Think of how badly this person was made to feel about themselves. Maybe they made this person go to a rehab. Maybe they put this person in an opioid rehab program. Maybe this person lost their job. Maybe they lost their house. Okay, maybe they lost friends and family. And all because they were told that they were an opioid addict. They were a drug addict. When in fact, the whole time that wasn't true. It never was true. It never was true. They never were a drug addict. And the proof is right there in front of you. So if you've got people that are calling you a drug addict, if you've got people that are looking at you like a drug addict, let's get this test done. We should have it ready to ship out the first test kits by the end of next week. That's it for the week, everybody. We'll touch base with you on Monday. Have a great weekend, and we're ending the week on a very exciting note. We are ready to begin testing the DNA of the American citizens who have been wrongly accused of being opioid addicts. My name is Dr. Doug Smith. Please like and subscribe to us. Post this podcast on your social media and everybody else's social media. Let's get the word out there. Have a good weekend.